Our specialty is making training fun again. Like a lot of people coming to us, they maybe have never trained or tried training. They tried the machines, the polio machines,
Yeah.
and really never got into it. But we're making training fun again. And even though we're not as specialized as all the like the Chek practitioners, we have a lot of knowledge just by opening up our ears, our hearts, and trying shit out. And our expertise is really making it fun, like making people love to go into their body again.
Welcome to Living 4D with Paul Chek. Today, Paul is talking to brothers Daniel and Viktor Gustafsson. Daniel and Viktor own and run Primal Health, a family-owned training facility in Halmstad, Sweden, with a passion for holistic health. Their goal is to guide people to a deeper self-connection through movement, inner work, and diet. Paul, Daniel, and Viktor are talking about gyms of the future and the state of the gym industry today. A big thank you to our premier sponsors, Bioptimizers, Paleo Valley, and Organifi, our podcast sponsors, Ned and Wild Pastures, and our preferred product sponsor, Peak Life. Their support is essential in producing this podcast, and we hope you will show your support by visiting them online and trying all the amazing products they produce. Please check the show notes for links and details at chekinstitute.com/podcast.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Living 4D. Today we have a unique topic, gyms of the future, with Viktor and Daniel Gustafsson, who are referred to me by Gunilla and Madeline Bloomberg. If you're not familiar with who Gunilla and Madeline Bloomberg are, the Bloomberg family owns Eleiko Barbell Company, which, in my opinion, makes the best weightlifting equipment in the world. And I have lots of it to enjoy every day in my gym, and it adds a lot of value to my life. And the key thing is they're not easily impressed people. So when they reached out to me to share about Viktor and Daniel's gym and how amazing it was, I was very interested because I know Gunilla's got a lot of gym experience, and so does Madeline. And so they told me all about Viktor and Daniel's facility and just how amazing these guys were, and that they are interested in my approach to holistic health and living well. And so I thought I'd invite them to share a podcast and talk about the gyms of the future and the state of the gym industry and the education in the industry, and talk about what they've done uniquely with their facility. So welcome, Viktor and Daniel.
Thank you.
Thank you. Honored.
Yes, my
Very
pleasure
honored.
too.
And a little bit freaked out, maybe.
What's that?
No, just a little bit freaked out as well, maybe.
Nothing to be freaked
Nah,
out, man.
nah.
Share the love, baby.
I'm loosening it up.
Yeah. I know if you're not used to being on a podcast, it's kind of maybe unnerving, but you know, it's just
Frozen back here.
yeah. No.
Nah, this is going to be really fun. Really fun.
Yeah, no, we'll just have fun. So why don't you share an overview of your guys' background and what led you to being gym owners? I think it's important for the audience to kind of get a sense of who you guys are and what makes you tick.
So I'm Viktor. This is my brother Daniel.
Right on.
Big brother.
Yeah, big one. So when it comes to our passion for training, it all started maybe 15 years ago when we started to train Thai boxing. We did the martial arts for more than 10 years, competing and really trained our asses off. We loved the kind of training you do with Thai boxing, the disciplinary things, and just the whole fighting experience when you really challenging yourself spiritually, mentally, physically. But it was no way close to holistic like we try to keep it today. So that's where it all started. From there, we explored training in all different areas. And then one day, Daniel called me and he's like, I've heard about fasting. You need to fast with me. So that was like our first road into something else when it comes to health, except from training. And if I remember right, we had a little, we actually...
We almost had a little bit of a falling out.
Yeah.
Because he lied to me. He said he did. I think I can't remember exactly how it started. It was through one of Joe Rogan's episodes. They were talking about fasting, or a guy who was talking about fasting, and just explaining how good he felt, how clear he felt. And that just made no sense in my head since what we've been taught as children. So I did the thing you should do and actually tried it. So I did a 3-day water fast, and my mind was blown. I felt tricked by the world. That was my beginning into the rabbit hole of holistic health.
And my ego was way too big to really even try it.
Yeah.
Like I just got mad at you, like, this is one more thing you want me to try.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Yeah. That was it.
But that was the thing. Like I tried fasting, and the same thing was reported from me. I felt clear for the first time. Like I didn't feel hunger. I felt hungry all the fucking time. I could train without even eating. And from there, we just our hunger for knowledge when it came to health just expanded and went so big. We started to listening to like Ben Greenfield and about biohacking and all that, and that's when I came in contact with you.
Yeah.
I've been like following you for such a long time now.
You forgot one thing. After Victor did the 3-day fast, he quit his job, moved home to Halmstad. He was living in Gothenburg. And we just felt we needed to do something with this. We didn't really know what, but something has to be done.
Well,
we need to work with this.
That's quite powerful for 3 days. It revolutionized your whole life.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It actually like created a good bond between us.
Yeah,
like
100%.
we actually realized, like, what the fuck are we doing with our lives? Are we supposed to just live in different spaces doing shit we don't like? So it really expanded our minds that, it might be something bigger out here. Like, why don't just try something different?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's great. It also, it very much is in line with my principle, less is more. And I think a lot of people today in the world are so caught in this attempt to fill the emptiness of their soul with food and clothing and phones and video games and just endless stuff, that it's really part of the disease that has our whole world and is destroying the planet, unfortunately. I think fasting, and I know when I fast, my body really loves it. I feel like I'm healing from the inside, and that it gives your glands and your organs a rest, and your body a chance to clean itself, and your immune system a chance to get rid of all the stuff that it's been overwhelmed by. I'm not somebody that runs up and says, I can't wait to fast again, because I used to be a fighter too. And my walking around weight was 166 and I fought at 147. So I had to take 3 months to taper down, because if I even looked at food, I would gain weight.
Yeah.
I think I was probably about 7% body fat most of the time. And so there wasn't much to take off of me. So it was very psychologically hard. And I, had to do that for quite a long time and over a span of years. And so, for me, fasting just reminds me of starving to death as a fighter all the time. And I used to.
Traumatic experience.
I used to.
That's actually a little bit the same for me. I don't really like enjoy doing it, even though it's pretty nice sometimes. But it's the disciplinary and the spiritual thing about it. Just being left alone with yourself, not putting anything in there to tamper with the feelings of what's really going on inside of you. That was definitely like a start off from building our relationship to the better, but also me quitting my job, moving back home. And from there, I was working as a greenkeeper at a golf course. Daniel was working in a family business with mom and dad in the golf shop.
Yeah.
And from there, while I was working, I was listening to 8 hours podcasts every day, and
perfect.
you were in my ears pretty much all the fucking time. So, I've heard your voice quite a lot.
I hope you've recovered.
Yeah, I'm still working on it, but
I personally find fasting while I'm using mushrooms is a much nicer way to go about it, just because I find that the mushrooms actually take the body naturally into fasting mode.
You like quit eating, but you like microdosing mushrooms, or how do you go?
I macro dose.
Of
Yes,
course.
yes.
No, but I've been experimenting some, but yeah.
I just
Powerful.
I just find that it's a nice combination because I'm using mushrooms for spiritual developmental purposes and psychological research and spiritual research, but I find that the mushrooms work better when there's nothing else around. And then when you're fasting, it lets you empty out, so you don't have the spirit of foods or animals in your body,
Mm.
because every plant and every animal has its own soul field, its own, using Rupert Sheldrake's terminology, morphogenic field, which is really the entelechy or the guiding intelligence of each thing we eat. So if you eat beef and you're on a plant medicine ceremony of any kind, you still have the DNA of the beef in you, which acts as a cosmic antenna. So you're constantly connected to the psyche of the animal. And so to get yourself clear so that the psychedelic medicines can actually open your unconscious up and you can be present with what's in you versus what is in the animal. For example, if you take a psychedelic medicine and eat red meat, you're likely to relive the death of the animal. If you have a decent dose in you, you'll go through the whole experience of the fear and the anxiety and all the trauma that is carried in the soul of that animal, because it's imprinted right into the water, which is imprinted into the meat. And then you got the DNA of the animal, so you're connecting to the psychic energy of the entire species. So the mushrooms themselves have this effect, I find, of making me not hungry at all. And so it's very easy to not only get the benefits of the mental, emotional clarity and healing and awakening to and realization of what's trapped inside of us, not only personally, but in our family and our genetics, in our collective unconscious. The more you heal yourself, the more you find yourself engaging the issues of humanity in the world. And point being is, if you have a bunch of other stuff in your body while you're doing that, you don't really know what you're dealing with. Is it me? Is it the cow that I ate, or the chicken that I eat? Or is it the
Just imagine the kids then, like eating fucking plastic and shit,
Mhm.
stuff like that, like having a really bad diet and going on those.
So
That's
how
gonna
long
be
do
a
you
trouble.
usually fast before you do an experience?
I basically, what I do is I eat light the night before. So I might eat, fish or salad, or even sometimes vegetarian. And then the next morning I start the ceremony, and then I just go all the way through the day. And then if I'm hungry, I'll eat. Once the medicine wears off, then I'll eat usually a light meal. So I normally just do like a day fast. But
Have you experimented with the longer to see if it's a difference, like a 3 or a 5 or a 7?
no, I've never had the desire to go longer.
Oh.
I kind of have an internal sense of my own body, and I keep it very clean and healthy. So I'm not someone that needs to fast for health reasons. And I spend plenty of my life in meditation and doing things like Tai Chi and a lot of other practices. So I don't really have a backlog of stuff that I think I need to work through. And if I felt like I needed to fast for a reason other than what I do, occasionally I've done day fasts where I just take a whole day off for 24 hours and just let my body reset. I'm not one to run up and say, let me see if I can go for 3 or 4 or 5 days without food, just because, as I said, from all my martial arts and boxing, mostly boxing, I just have such a disdain for being hungry all the time, and it doesn't turn me on at all. So I think of all the
I get it.
of the million ways we can grow spiritually, each of us has to kind of choose what works for us. And And I've suggested and prescribed 3-day fast for people, but mostly they're sick people that are coming to see me, people with cancer or some kind of serious health problem. Parasite infections is a one that I commonly use fast for because, there's probably about 1,000 parasites out there, and most companies only test for about 150, and the tests aren't even that accurate. So quite often I've had cases where people weren't responding to standard parasite protocols. And even though we've tested, they have often come up negative on tests, sometimes after 3 or 4 tests. So when you're in a situation like that, the best thing to do is just starve the parasites out. And so a 3-day fast is enough because most parasites turn over very quickly in the body. Most of them have a life cycle of around 2 weeks. Some of them go all the way up to 6 weeks, but a lot of them are only about 2 weeks, which is why you see, for example, people take anti-parasite herbs, then they'll start feeling better. Then a couple of weeks, all of a sudden, they feel shitty again. And that's because the parasites have buried their eggs in their target organ, be it the mucous membrane of the small intestine, the stomach, the liver, the gallbladder, the kidneys, even the brain. And then once the parasites that are alive get killed by the herbs, the ones that start hatching come out, and all of a sudden it's like they got another infection. And so the problem is that the parasites learn to adapt to almost anything you throw at them. What first kills them then just becomes food for them. And so why I'm sharing this is because if you get to a point where you have to figure out how to get rid of these things, the best thing to do is starve them out. And then you can find out what the life cycle is. Because let's say you do a 3-day fast and it knocks them down quite a bit, but all of a sudden they come back. And your next round is 3 weeks later, all of a sudden you have another round. Then I can say, okay, I know you've got a parasite that lives on a 3-week cycle. So now I can go look through my manuals full of parasites and say, I'm looking for parasites that live 3 weeks. Then I can look at the symptom profile for each of those parasites and say, okay, this one looks just like Mrs. Jones here. Then I can go look for specific herbs or drugs that will kill that parasite. Point being is that I use fasting for patients for very specific reasons. But, fasting, as you know, has such a broad scope of applications, from spiritual development to healing, to detoxification, to discipline.
Yeah. And actually community in our sense. We do it a lot together, and that is a powerful community builder or family builder. That has been really interesting to do the whole family.
Yeah, well, that's good. I mean, if a little starvation brings you together, then go for
100%.
Sounds fucked up.
It sounds fucked up, but it's true. Yeah,
Try it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes Christmas dinner a lot cheaper.
Yeah. You save a lot of money.
So, what a great introduction. It's lovely to see how passionate you guys are about these things. And we both seem to come from a martial arts and, for me, boxing as well background, and kickboxing, which I did plenty of. And that is a great discipline builder. But, I think it's far better to do it holistically. So now that I'm sure if you were to go back to it, your whole approach would be different.
Yeah, that's actually what we're thinking about as well,
Yeah.
because that's something I've never really figured out during my fighting career. My mindset was way off. I didn't really have like I said, the holistic approach, but
Preparation was crazy as
Yeah.
well. No strategy that was good. Yeah.
No, we did we were fasting for a whole day to cut weight, and then you ate like a pizza right before the fight.
Yeah, good
It was
idea.
that. Yeah. But I didn't even
Yeah.
think about this is a bad idea.
And you sit in a cold hallway, and then you do mitt work right before you go into the ring. You're totally exhausted.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Yeah, and you're trying to not even show people that you're scared. No, I'm not scared.
Yeah. Well, that's the nature of the young man trying to figure out where the warrior lives inside of him.
That was a powerful trip.
Who's quite big into following my teachings and using it in their fight training is Sean O'Malley.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I know.
And I've spent time with him and his trainer Tim and their wives, and they've come and visited me and stacked rocks and hung out. I've had them on the podcast, and they recently reached out to me, said they want to come see me. They call me Uncle Paul, so they said we want to come see you again, Uncle Paul. I said, all right.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah, I've heard
Those,
him say
those are
that.
those are a couple of badass dudes right there. They're full on. Sean and Tim, man, they study a lot, and they're really, really committed to doing it right, which is a great example for others. And it's lovely to see you guys also committing yourself to helping other people. So, why do you guys feel gyms are so important? You've obviously devoted a lot of your time, energy, money, and resources into creating a gym. When you look at the issues of the world today and the state of people, why is a gym important to you, and why do you think gyms are important in general?
The most important thing with our gym is that it's not a regular gym, because for me, like when I looked up gyms before, I looked for certain things like, oh, I need a place with a sauna. I need a
Mm-hmm.
place where I can find a lot of weight so I can do my deadlifts.
Mm-hmm.
So gyms are good in the way that it actually helps you to try out equipment that you can't really have in your small apartment, and you can maybe find some way of community and stuff like that. But our gym is more about the community part, and about things that will actually help you recover.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of recovery things going on in here. We have the cold plunge, we have the sauna, of course we have the gym, but the gym is no way near the commercial gyms. We have no machines. We only have like functional training areas. We also have things that will help people recover, like light therapy. We have
Mm.
cryo chambers. We
Oh,
have
good.
yeah.
And I would say most of our members probably don't call this a gym. It's more their second home or their first home. They spend a lot of time here. Many people are here 2, 3, 4, 5 hours a day. So it's hard to call this a gym, as Victor said. We are trying to find a word for what this is.
We also have the restaurant and the
Yeah.
and all that. So we do cook food here, and we serve it here,
Yeah.
and we also sell it so you can bring it home. We have products that we make ourselves. So going back to your book, How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy, we try to incorporate all these things in here and also make a good atmospheres. It feels really really like a home where you can do your
Yeah.
work in practice, you can do your workout practice, and you can also feed yourself
And recover.
and
Yeah.
recover.
That's a
And
gorgeous concept. And it's nice that because most gyms just have nothing but shit to eat, and that's all they sell is a bunch of shit, which is kind of a paradox, isn't it? You go to a
yeah.
place where you're supposed to go get healthy, and you're drinking Gatorade, Red Bull, Monster, eating packaged crap out of vending machines, or feeding yourself all this protein powder and garbage supplements that don't do anything but overload your liver and load your body up, and all in the disguise of health. It's really like a form of corporate hijacking of the whole concept of what health and fitness is supposed to be about.
And also a lot
Yeah.
of the equipment, it's just so you can inflate your ego and trying to feel healthy about looking a certain way, pretty much, in gyms.
Definitely a broken system, like many systems in our
Yeah.
society. yeah.
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 So, what are the other things that you think are important? I mean, if we looked at, you know, society at large, what are the things that you guys feel should be happening in gyms, or could be happening in gyms, or used to be happening in gyms that aren't happening anymore? I mean, obviously, you've created a community environment, which is really more like what comes to me is more like a spiritual dojo, like
Yes.
it's,
That's a good word
That's
for
the
it.
name.
Thank you.
yeah,
That's the best thing.
That's what we've been looking for. Thank you.
yeah,
Yeah.
spirit dojo.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
I think this is a concept that's growing all over the place. Maybe in smaller scale than we have, but I think the big gyms are taking a hit, and the smaller spaces are growing, definitely. We
think
can see it in our small city here. We see a lot of small gyms coming up where, yeah, more predicated on just movement, functionality, community. Um,
what we're
yeah,
really trying to educate here is getting into your body, not
yeah,
necessarily like getting out of your body, like
yeah,
a lot of places.
yeah.
It's a really good concept too, because if I remember right, didn't Madeline or Ganilla say you guys have a meditation room or something like that?
We're in it right now.
Yeah, it looks really beautiful. That's whoever
See it?
did the mural. That's a gorgeous mural back there.
You probably know who that is. Alex Gray.
You're kidding me.
No, no. We have his art all over the place.
I would love to just turn the camera around so you can see the room. Would that
Is
be nice?
is that plant material around the art?
Unfortunately, it's plastic plants, but yeah, we try to build a feeling.
Yeah, it's not. Oh, there you
That's the
go.
shroom.
Yeah.
Nice. The
That's the
god.
eye.
Yeah, there you have Alex Gray as well,
There
the
you have the
shaman.
shaman.
Right on.
Our whole place is a little bit meditative, but yeah, we have this room here is made for like from the beginning breath works.
Yeah.
So we have like it's isolated in the ceiling, all the roofs, and we also have music like speakers and basses coming out of the roof. So it really creates like this vibrating feeling in here. So you can do like gong sounds, and we also have our drums and stuff like that. So we can create a epic space in here. And this is a room where we pretty much start all of
Yeah.
our sessions to
Yeah.
really like land in our body, get in touch with our breath.
So in like let's say we have a 1 hour session with a client, at least 20 to 30 minutes will be in here before we
Good.
do anything out there. So depending on what we're going to do, if we're going to have a hard training session, we might breathe in a way to maybe kick us up some adrenaline, cortisol, get focused, powerful, and of course the other way around as well.
Hi, everybody. I am so excited to tell you about Wild Pasture's amazing meat delivery service. They have beef, chicken, pork, and wild caught fish. My family and I have been enjoying their meat for quite some time now, and I just couldn't wait to tell you about it any longer. We had an amazing barbecue this weekend, and I'm still high off the meat. And they use a whole network of regenerative farms, which means that you're getting a different ecosystem from each farm, which means a different nutritional profile, which means nutritional diversity, which means health and vitality, which is exactly what we need right now in the world for ourselves and our families so we can all make a difference in the world. And Matt Smith's going to tell us more about this amazing company, Wild Pastures, about their offering and how you can get it. Thank you, Matt.
Thanks so much, Paul. And I'm excited to tell your listeners what they can get today and how we can help them out. So, as you know, pastured meats are crazy expensive. And so our goal with Wild Pastures is to tap into this network of regenerative farmers and to finally create the solution of where we can get the highest quality meats delivered straight to your door for the most affordable prices around. And so we're on average seeing that we are 40% cheaper than any other delivery option out there, and that our customers have reportedly saved, on average, $1,000 on their grocery bill from meat alone. And so Wild Pastures is a regenerative meat delivery service that is solving this problem. And you can get 100% grass-fed and finished, as well as pasture-raised pork and poultry and wild-caught seafood from Alaska delivered straight to your door. So it's far more convenient. It's far more environmentally friendly because we're using regenerative farms entirely. We don't use feedlots ever. So the nutrition profiles are way better. You can definitely taste the difference. I know we were talking about this on our just before we hopped on, you having a Father's Day barbecue and how incredible the pasture-raised chicken and beef short ribs were. And you can really taste the difference, right?
I'm
And
still
so-
high.
And so our goal is to remove the roadblock from people's minds that if they want to eat healthy, it's too expensive. And so that's where Wild Pastures comes in, is we are delivering with our own fleets of trucks whenever possible. We haven't raised our meat prices in over 3 years at this point. And we're really just creating convenience for the consumer and kind of being the high tide that rises all ships. If we can opt more people into a system like this, the cost stays down for everybody. And so there is a myriad of benefits that go into that. And so today, if your listeners want to try Wild Pastures and taste the difference and experience what it's like, go to wildpastures.com/Paul Chek or click the link in the show notes and save 20% off for life, plus get free shipping for life, plus get $15 off your first box.
That's a mind-blowing deal. I can't even imagine. I mean, I've never heard of an offer like that. And, most people would hear an offer like that and think, this can't be that good. But I'm telling you, it's not only that good, it's really good. Or I would not be sharing this on my podcast. I think everybody needs to get a hold of Wild Pastures for their family, for their vitality, for their longevity, and for the future of this planet. So thank you guys very much. So Matt, just repeat the website again.
Sure. Just go to wildpastures.com/Paul Chek or visit the link in the show notes and get 20% off for life, plus free shipping for life, plus $15 off your first box so you can try it.
You'll be glad you did. Have you guys ever seen any of Osho's dynamic meditations?